Hey, everybody. You are about to hear a brief retelling of the movie The Nutcracker and the Four Realms. Enjoy the movie. Fritz and Clara are siblings whose mother passed away not too long ago. As soon as the mouse is inside their trap, which they are playing with and trying to catch, their maid arrives. She summons them down because their father Stahlbaum arrives and they meet their sister Louise. Before their mother passed away, Stahlbaum sent them gifts, but Louise protests because it's not Christmas Day yet. He claims that on Christmas Eve, their mother asked him to give them the presents. Receiving the gifts makes the kids extremely delighted. They start to notice them. As Clara opens her gift, she finds an egg-shaped item that is locked and requires a key that is not in the box. Clara enters her room, and there is a note in the box from her mother. She opens and reads the letter. Her mother has written that her present has all she requires, but Clara is perplexed and unhappy when her father enters her room and explains to her that Christmas comes every year whether we like it or not, and we must enjoy it. Louise also enters Clara's chamber, wearing her mother's clothes. Stahlbaum glances at Louise, who looks precisely like her mother. He asks Louise to help Clara get ready since they are heading to a Christmas celebration, which Louise is assisting with. Clara was getting dressed and kept glancing at the egg, which was a present from her mother. She notices the letter D inscribed on it and soon realizes it was done by Drosselmeyer. Drosselmeyer raised their mother and is a well-known businessman. Clara is relieved to learn that Drosselmeyer will be attending the celebration and that he will undoubtedly be able to crack this egg. On the way, their father reminds them that they should behave well during dinner and that he would want to dance with both of them. Clara so that she does not vanish today. When they arrive at the party, everyone is partying. Clara heads downstairs to visit Drosselmeyer. He begs Clara to assist him in repairing a toy since its mechanism is not operating correctly. Clara examines the toy attentively and promptly repairs it. She presented the egg to Drosselmeyer and inquired about the key. Drosselmeyer notices it and says he created it for a smart girl. He meant Clara's mother. He goes on to explain that when her mother initially came to him, she spent the entire day in her room and didn't trust anyone. Drosselmeyer had constructed it for her mother and stored it outside her chamber, which she gradually came to believe. Clara questions him about the key, and he responds that certain locks are more difficult to select than others. After the bell sounds, he instructs Clara to go upstairs. Drosselmeyer then begs his owl to protect her. Everyone gathers in the hall, and Drosselmeyer delivers a speech. He then delivers them with their presents, and everyone rushes outside to celebrate. Clara is also about to walk out, but her father stops her. He is irritated because of her departure, but Clara refuses to dance. Her father said that she always thinks solely about herself. This infuriated Clara. Clara said that he is also thinking about himself and departs. She begins looking for her present, then notices her name and follows the rope. The rope leads her to a new location in the Christmas tree forest. Clara proceeds to remove her gift from the tree and she recognizes her gift. It's a key, and Clara believes it's the same key she's looking for, but then a mouse appears and flees with the key. Clara chases the mouse, but it goes into the forest, where she follows it to the other side of the lake. As Clara attempts to pass through the frozen lake, it begins to fracture. Clara comes to a halt and searches for a way out until she notices a bridge. She approaches the bridge, and there is a Nutcracker in his booth. As Clara begins to cross the bridge, Nutcracker wakes up and prevents her from crossing the bridge. However, when Clara says her whole name, he quickly bends his head. He introduces himself as Captain Phillip and informs Clara that her mother, Marie Stahlbaum, is the queen and Clara is the princess. He then informs Clara that crossing the bridge is risky since it is in the fourth dimension and there is a battle going on. Clara tells him she needs to go that way regardless and commands him. He brings Clara on a horse to the opposite side, where she sees the same mouse and chases it. As Clara approaches the mouse, it disappears beneath the earth, but a group of mice attacks Clara from behind. They attempted to take Clara with them, but Philip intervened and saved her. Clara has to go because that environment is not safe for her. Meanwhile, Clara hears a voice. Mother Ginger's voice is heard calling out to everyone who reaches the location to murder him, which Mother Ginger attempts to prevent Clara, but Philip explains that it is a trap. Mother Ginger dislikes intruders. He leads her to the palace, and the guards halt her, but when they hear Clara's name, they panic and allow her to enter. Clara enters the palace, and everyone bows down to her. Clara enters the conference room after seeing images of her mother all over the place. Hearing Clara's name, all of the regents stood up and began to introduce themselves. Hawthorne, regent of the land of flowers. Shiver, the regent of the land of snowflakes, and Sugarplum, the regent of the land of sweets, inquire her about her mother. Clara informs them that her mother has died, and they all get concerned at hearing this awful news. They lead Clara to her mother's palace, where Sugarplum asks her if she has come to save them. Clara rejects it, saying she had no knowledge of this location. She informs them about what occurred to her after arriving here. Philip describes how they made it here after escaping the mouse. King and Mother Ginger the Regent claims that it was fate that she survived the fourth realm, as no one else had been able to escape. The Regent thinks they should have a pageant to commemorate Clara's arrival, but Clara says she needs to get back to the party. The Regent reminds her that there is a vast gap between realm and world time. Sugar Plum leads her to another room to look, and they have a really enormous dial, the identical one Drosselmeyer used to have. Sugar Plum asked Clara to stand motionless, and the dial began to move. As the dial turned around, they appeared in a wall clock. Clara gazed around the celebration. Everyone was dancing and enjoying themselves, yet everything was moving slowly. Sugar Plum explains that time in their realm moves slower than in the realm, then leads Clara to another chamber and instructs her to prepare for the pageant. Clara also looks adorable thanks to Sugar Plum, and everyone pays attention to her at the pageant. The pageant begins with her mother, Marie, and how she explored the world. She sees each realm one by one, including the fourth realm. Sugar Plum explains that prior to her mother's discovery, they were all simply toys for children to play with, but her mother gave them life. She brings Clara to another chamber where she shows Clara the engine developed by Marie and how, with her aid, she generated all these universes and imbued them with life. After then, they experienced feelings such as happiness, sadness, rage, and love. Sugar Plum adds that according to their spies, Mother Ginger is on a warpath. The engine is the only way they can defend themselves by forming an army. However, there is a key in it that is held by Clara's mother, and without it, it does not operate. Clara removes the egg from her and discovers that they both have the same lock. She informs them that the key has been stolen by a rat and that she will go to the fourth realm, bring the key. Philip says it's hazardous, but Clara believes that's why her mother put her here. Clara sleeps at night and remembers the last time Christmas she spent with her mother. When she informs Clara that she has constructed a universe and brought the toys to life, her mother responds, Clara, she will also see this world. Clara walks to the roof because she misses her mother and says that she doesn't sure whether she will be able to acquire the key, and that if she can't, the world revealed by her mother would cease. She wished her mother was around to inform her whether she was doing the right thing in the meanwhile. A star emerges from the sky, passes through it, and believes she is doing the right thing. The next day, Clara prepares the troops. She is wearing a military outfit, and Sugar Plum is also present. Sugar claims she can't accompany her due to personal reasons and enters the palace. The soldiers that stopped Clara when she entered the palace are also standing and have agreed to participate. Clara then orders the troops to depart and walks out of the palace. They seek for the Mouse King in the forest and eventually arrive at Mother Ginger's home. The entire army is frightened to go inside since it is incredibly cloudy, but Clara dismounts and walks in on her own, and the army follows suit. Suddenly, the troops sink into the earth, and everyone jumps on the carousel. Clara switches on the lights, but Mice smashes the carousel from the bottom, and Clara jumps off, but Mouse King catches her up and transports her. Mother Ginger Phillip chases him, while Clara enters into the clown. Inside, the Jokers tease Clara and put her onto a chair while it rises. Clara attempts to take the key hanging in front of her, but Mother Ginger comes. Clara informs her that her mother has died, however. Mother Ginger puts the key into her hands. Philip also enters and distracts Mother Ginger. Clara then presses the lever and lowers while holding the key. Ginger continues to fight back, but Philip and Clara flee. Clara goes out, stops some ways away, and opens the egg, but it was only a music box. Clara is concerned by what she sees and cannot comprehend. She gives Philip the key and attempts to depart on her own, but Philip stops her, and they both travel to the palace. Sugar Plum is ecstatic to receive the key and instantly starts the engine. She demands that 10 soldiers be placed on the platform, but Philip refuses since they are unfamiliar with the behavior of 10 soldiers. Sugar Plum does not listen, and she sets 10 soldiers on the platform and activates the engine. They come to life, and she commands them to march on the fourth realm. Clara responds that her mother would never wish it, but Sugar Plum's nasty visage appears and commands the 10 soldiers to arrest. Clara and Philip are arrested and confined in a room with the other 2 regents. Clara feels upset and thinks that everything occurred because of her. She continues to gaze at the music box and discovers a secret mirror within. Clara remembers her mother's comments and her mind clicks. She knows what her mother is saying and what she wants. Clara should just trust herself and her ability. Clara then asks Philip for assistance. They devise a strategy and manage to flee. Clara and Philip are hiding in the chamber to monitor Sugar Plum and what she is doing, but a mouse appears and wants to tell something to them. Clara understands and asks the mouse for a route to the engine room, which the rodent leads them through the subterranean sewers to. Clara instructs Philip to see Mother Ginger and inform her about the conflict. She now ensures that Ginger is a decent person by climbing down the hill personally and turning off the motor. Philip approaches Ginger and tells her everything while they go towards the palace. Clara tries to sneak inside the engine room by distracting 10 soldiers with toy mice. On the other side, Sugar Plum's soldiers assault Ginger's clown, and the clown manages to keep them occupied for quite some time. The troops shoot down the clown, and Sugar Plum is waiting for Ginger. However, Phillip emerges from the clown. In the engine room, the 10 warriors notice Clara's presence. The troops are about to capture Clara when Ginger appears and saves them. Sugar Plum enters the engine room and catches. Ginger uses 10 soldiers, but Clara hides beneath the engine and then approaches Sugar. Clara explains to Sugar Plum that her mother would never desire that, but she disagrees, claiming that her mother was their queen, and the queen left her people alone. Sugar Plum instructs the troops to place Ginger on the platform as soon as she starts the engine, but Beam switches to Sugar Plum rather than Ginger, transforming her back into a toy. Along with Tens, warriors sacrifice their lives. Everything returns to normal the next day, and Clara and Ginger hug each other. Clara is treated to a feast, and Phillip arrives to deliver. Clara leaves, and he asks her if she will return to Realm. Clara responds yes, but first, Phillip should travel to her land and meet her folks. They both bid farewell to one another and Clara returns. Back to the party. Clara meets Drosselmeyer and informs him that she has completed the duty he has assigned to her. Clara explains that her mother was unquestionably the smartest inventor, and that every time he questioned her about her finest innovation, she used Clara's name. Clara grins and walks out to see her father. She apologizes to him, but is astonished when her father apologizes to her for his actions. Clara takes out the music box from her pocket and invites her father to dance. As the music plays, her father recalls that it is the same tune he danced to with her mother for the first time, and the two begin dancing together.